Hello, guys, and welcome to today's Outlook and discussion. I did a poll on Twitter today, and people said, let's do this every single day now. So here we are. We're going to do this every single day. I also want to wish you guys a happy Easter, too. I hope you guys are staying safe and everything, eating good food, hanging with a good family. I hope you guys are having fun. Anyways, we are now 28 days away from the start of the Atlantic tropical weather outlooks here, and we're getting down to crunch time here. This is literally 4 weeks away from the start from those coming out. We're also about 45 days away from the start of the official start of hurricane season, so this is going by pretty quickly as we head out through the next couple of weeks. It's gonna be May in the next 14 days. We're there. We're just we gotta be prepared. Take it a little bit more seriously as we head out through the rest of the next couple of weeks and months ahead. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the Noaa coral reef watch sea surface temperatures, and I'm going to go over about 3 different days in both the Western Atlantic and the Eastern Atlantic to see how these temperatures have evolved over the last 3 days. That's going to be something that we're going to do from now on. So as you guys can see, typical warm spots here in the northern Gulf of Mexico. And you can see where this warm tongue is, and I'll show you that it's still gradually moving north as we head through time. You got your Bay of Campeche stuff here that is starting to warm up. Typical, Western Caribbean, Western MDR, starting to warm up pretty nicely. So now we're going to go to the 16th. And as you can see the contractions here, or contrast. And you can see that the warm tongue has creeped up to the northeast now. So this is literally like 100 miles away from touching the coast now. And this is where the loop current is as we speak. So also the other differences is this yellow line is starting to grow a little bit more in the Gulf Stream as well as the Bay of Campeche even growing here. You got 27 or 26s and 27s popping up here. So now we're going to take a look at today's sea surface temperatures, and you can see the contrast in the warming in the Gulf of Mexico. That's pretty deep contrast here. You can see that these medium shades of green really jumped up there to over the 27 north line. So the Gulf of Mexico is warming up pretty quickly as we speak. It's only going to take a few more weeks to get all these temperatures to where they really should be, as long as that's not barring any cold fronts that might come through, which I do not foresee happening whatsoever as we head out through the rest of April. So we should be, most places here in Florida should stay, during the daytime, anywhere from 79 to like 86 degrees. So, there's still going to be plenty of warm air around as we head out through the next, week or two here. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the whole of the tropics here. This is important here. You can see that, most of these 26 degree isotherms are, it's half over the 9 line and, half under the 9 line. So we're going to see what happens on the 16th. You can see the differences here. They're starting to creep up north a little bit as we head out, through time. And now we're going to take a look at today's sea surface temperatures. And as you can see, they're even little more north now than they were, say, yesterday around this time. As you see, they're slowly creeping up there, and I have suspicions that this will definitely get warmer as we head out through the next couple of weeks. So with that being said, let's take a look at the Noaa Nina 3.4 region. As you can see here, we're looking at a value right now of negative 0.946 on the index scale, and that's getting very close to a moderate La Nina here. The threshold for moderate La Nina is a -1, and what that is going to do is that's gonna raise the wind shear in the Eastern Pacific, so that storm systems can't get going as quickly as they should, or not form at all. Like last year, we've only had a couple really decent storms, but the others failed to really get up to par with what the East Pack really is about. That's because of that La Nina that was in effect, and that's not going to help the Eastern Pacific whatsoever. But what that does do for the Atlantic is that lessens the shear, and that helps to build up strong storms, or just storms in general, to try to form into something in that lowers the shear in the Caribbean and the Western MDR regions. So that's going to be a thing that we're going to have to watch very carefully this season, is how low that wind shear is going to be as we head out through time. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the Noaa Coral Reef MDR chart here, and you can see, over the last several weeks, we've been on an upward trend here. So I think that's counting for those trades that are weakening now, and it's allowing these waters to start warming up. And as you can see, we're still on we're on a steep incline here. And last value here, these are the real sea surface temperatures right now. The real sea surface temperatures in the MDR right now is 25.386, which is definitely below average. What is average here is something like, we're about negative 0.173 degrees below average. So, it's got to be up above 25.5 degrees to be above average, it seems, by the looks of this. And you can see that this is starting the incline too. So, and there's some indications that we could be seeing, the negative NAO even enforce this warming even further, along with the weaker trade winds, and the early kicking of the WAM, Western. So that should help warm the temperatures up a little bit, or probably a lot. I mean, who knows how frequent this rise is going to be. I just don't foresee that the MDR is going to be cool for too much longer. All right, so now I want to get to look over something that I found very interesting today. This came from somebody from Storm 2K, and this shows the possibility of a ridge setting up in place, in which it would be bad for U.S. landfalls. In particular, they mention the Florida Peninsula here. So, I'm going to read over this stuff for you guys. You guys can take it as you will. Whether this stays in place or doesn't stay in place, we're going to have to see how it all pans out. But based on correlations with April forecast below, the long-range ECMWF seems to handle H5 heights in ASO very well, several months in advance. Yeah, that's they do have a point. They have a point in that. So at least in the tropics, mainly equatorial Africa and South America, as well as the Western MDR, the Caribbean, and Mexico, this lends some credence to the EC's April outlook for August, September, October of 2022, which indicates relatively average or slightly above average heights over the aforementioned regions. In particular, the projected heights of the Western MDR, Caribbean, Mexico suggest elevated heights farther north, and all the expected pattern correlates fairly well with that which attends major hurricane impacts on the peninsula, Florida, during August, September, and October. And that's really interesting here. And there's even more to this. Compared to 2016 to 2021, 2022 may feature more of a zonal versus meridional ridge over eastern North America during the peak of the season, which would better fit the pattern that was seen in 2004/2005. Such a pattern would imply more of a risk to Florida Peninsula than has been seen in several recent seasons. During August, September, October of 2016 to 2021, the axial ridge extended from south to north rather than from east to west, which combined with a weakness over the central subtropical Atlantic meant that storms curved northward towards the Gulf of Mexico or the Carolinas or headed out to sea, mostly avoiding the Florida Peninsula. A shift towards a 2004/2005 type configuration, as suggested by the April EC outlook for August, September, October 2022, would allow one or more hurricanes to threaten the Florida Peninsula. That's going to be very interesting. We're going to have to see, how this pans out. Which I do agree with some points. The ECMWF has had a pretty good track record with August, September, and October over the last couple of years. So you can see this is not a good look right here whatsoever. Precipitation anomalies. Are pretty much there's a lot of precipitation pretty much where you see the Florida Peninsula. So in closing with this section, as can be absorbed above, 2016 to 2021 featured an active West African monsoon, but the western portion of the MDR, along with the eastern Caribbean, was drier than above average precipitation along the Gulf Coast and off the eastern seaboard correlated well with the observed tropical cyclone activity. A shift towards a 2004-2005 type steering regime, coupled with an ENSO, a stronger negative PDO, and a robust WAM, would potentially allow for somewhat wetter pattern in the western MDR and eastern Caribbean, along with a shift in above average precipitation from Gulf Coast eastwards towards the Florida Peninsula. Now, like I said, that's interesting news, but the people of Florida Peninsula should mostly always be ready for hurricane season, no matter what. What have we? May, June, July, August. We got about 4 months. Not even that, 3.5 months until August starts. So that's not a whole lot of time. To really prepare for what hopefully that ECMW doesn't pan out, but right now just pay attention to what's going on out there, and I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on everything as we head out through time. All right, so the last thing I wanted to go over here is the MGO, and the MGO is pretty much the green is representative of upward rising air, and the reds and oranges indicative of downward moving air. And the sinking air demotes thunderstorm activity. It puts a hamper on any thunderstorms that are starting to bubble up or try to really get going into storms. While upward rising motion, the greens, typically promotes thunderstorm growth and activity, which could possibly sprout into a tropical cyclone. So right now we got a pretty decent MGO here in the Atlantic, and that's why you're seeing a lot of moisture and precipitation near the Bahamas and the Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and such places, because we got this MGO, which obviously promotes thunderstorm activity. So let's head out through the next. We're going to look through all 6 weeks here. So here we are. We still got an MGO lingering here in the Caribbean, but it's not very strong. But then we got a negative one coming in here for the Gulf of Mexico. But then when we get to the start of May, we got another MGO, system coming in here, and this is going to be the system, the MGO passage that I'm going to be looking at as we head through May, in the first 2 weeks of May, because as you can see, there's May 1st through May 8th, May 8th to May 15th. That may be a time frame where we may have to start watching for something tropical to try to develop in that time frame. That's what me and a few other people are discussing here. But as you can see, as we head out through the last 2 weeks of May, you see that we're in a neutral phase of the MJO, while the MGO is just pretty much standing here in the Indian Ocean, which if this was July, August, September, October, this would be promoting hella amount of African easterly waves. But who knows? This is shaping up right now to be a pretty weird season because there are some features that are starting to come into play that we thought were never going to come into play, but now are coming into play. Plus, the La Nina is actually looking to be strengthening as we head farther to time. So, there's still, I say by mid May, we will have a clearer picture of what kind of season we're going to be having here in the Atlantic. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. I'll be back again tomorrow with some more info. I'm going to start digging some more stuff up to present tomorrow. And give me your thoughts on everything that was shown today. Do you guys think that the MDR is going to warm significantly, or maybe go to average? And do you think La Nina is going to strengthen or stay about average? And what do you guys think about the May 1st through May 15th time frame to possibly see a tropical cyclone? Anyways, with that being said, once again, happy Easter. I hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.